Hi guys, this is Terry from Home Again. Today I'm going to show you how to make your own pie crust. This is a class for beginners. I'm not saying I'm an expert at this. I've just been making pies for my family for like the last 40 years. That's a long time. Anyways, I haven't had any complaints and it's really easy. Where do you think the saying came from? Easy as pie. So you don't need to worry anymore about getting to the grocery store too late and all the boxes of pie crust being gone, because you don't need that anymore. You probably have everything you need in the pantry. It's simple. So let's get started. Okay, first off, this is the recipe I've been using for all these years. I don't know where I originally got it, and I have tweaked some things on it. So I'll explain that to you later. There you go. If you need to know your ingredients, hope you can read my chicken scratch there. And you can freeze that. And let's get started. This is what I generally use, Crisco. It doesn't have to be Crisco. This isn't a commercial for Crisco. Any kind of all vegetable shortening. It's the solidified stuff. We're gonna use some of that, some good old flour, little salt, and that's all you need, and some water. This pastry blender, which you don't even need this. I didn't have this one of these forever until a little old lady we bought a house from. I inherited from her. So you can use just a fork. So you don't even need to go out and buy one of these. You can use a fork. So we're gonna get going. Let's do this. Okay, so what I have in here is my 2.5 cups of flour. Okay, and to that I'm gonna add, I put on the recipe a dash of salt. It's really probably more, I'll forget this. I'll just show you what I do. Just got like maybe 3 little shakes of salt. I don't know why. I just do what I'm told to do in the past and it's worked out. Just kind of stir up that flour and put this Crisco vegetable shortening. I have used off brands, it's worked just fine. I've never used coconut oil, which I know is really popular nowadays. So that might work just fine. I don't know though, I've never tried that, so I can't recommend coconut oil because I've never tried it. So, of course we always wash our hands before we start. All right, now you just kind of take this pastry blender or a fork, like I said. If you take the fork, you just go like this. You just mush your shortening into your flour like this. See, and you just keep doing it. If you have a pastry blender, just do it like this. But you know what? I'm gonna finish off with a fork because you might not have a pastry blender, and this is how I did it for years. Just kind of turn the bowl around, and what you're doing is you want to get the shortening blended into the flour. They usually say like pea size. See the little crumbles? Just get it blended in good. Don't worry about the size. You just want to get it distributed really good into your flour like that. See? So the flour is more grainy looking, lumpy looking than it is puffy, light and fluffy. There you go. See, you've distributed your Crisco into your flour. You take this 1/2 cup of water. To be honest with you, I know a lot of people use cold water and icy cold water. I don't. I'm different here. I use hot water right out of the tap usually. I had that in a jar because I microwaved it because it was setting out a while. So just, you know, nice hot water, and you start stirring it like this. Oops, sorry. To mix that water in. Kind of mush it with your fork a little to get the dry flour mixed in with the wet. Okay. And I put a 1/2 cup on the recipe, but you know what I do? I usually probably end up using more like 3/4 of a cup. Because if it looks a little dry like it is right now, see, you've got some mixed, but then you have a lot of dry stuff that hasn't really gotten moist. I usually take about another 1/2 cup, so that'd be 3/4 of a cup of water. Just kind of mix it in. You don't want to do too much. Too much water will make it sticky, and not enough water, it's dry and crumbly and hard to roll out. So you gotta get the right amount of water. And I'm making a mess. I always make a mess. I'm the sloppiest cook that probably ever lived. You know what, I'm gonna put the rest of that in there. So we used about 3/4 cup of water, but I would really start with a half and only put in what you need. If it gets too sticky, you have a really limp pie dough too, which is kind of hard to work with. Then you just get your hands in there and start making sure it's all nice and moist. Kind of pat it down. Keep our flour nearby, because what we're going to do is just sprinkle a little flour on our surface here, like that. Spread it out. We're going to go like this. Kind of get a circle going there. Actually, what I should have did is separate this, because you know what? This is a 2-crust pie recipe, but I'm making these for pumpkin pie and a lemon meringue pie. So for each one of those, I only need a bottom crust. So we take half of that. That recipe makes a top and a bottom crust. So we take half of that and we mush it down. And then we get our rolling pin. Right here, we take a little more flour and we dust the rolling pin. A rolling pin is something you really can't do without. And that's not the most perfectly round one I've did, but it's okay. We're gonna work with it here. Gonna fold it like this, and sometimes I get a little bit of dusting and I just go like this, because when you fold it then it won't stick together. You're gonna fold it in half and then you're gonna lay it in your pie plate, gently like that. Now what you're gonna do is just kind of lift it so you can get this down in the edges of the pie plate without stretching the dough too much. So we don't want it really thin. You don't want your crust burning. You don't want it really thick. Probably like that, if you can see that. And you try to roll it out evenly so you know it's going to be even in the bottom of the pie plate. It's going to cook evenly. Now, you can have kitchen scissors. You can just use a knife. A kitchen scissors is nice though, makes it handy. I just clip off a little bit. I leave my crust, sorry about that, the edges pretty long. I like to have something to work with here, to fold under and to make look all pretty. So I don't cut a lot off, not much at all. See, it's a little bit on the short side there, but it'll be all right, as long as it tastes good. So then I take this edge, that one's gonna tore there, and fold it under like this. See that? So I have a pretty good sturdy crust on my pie. Just gonna go around like this and smush it into the sides of the pie plate like this. Sorry, I'm new at this filming thing. I'm trying to keep you in the frame here. Keep the pie in the frame. It's okay. It's a little shorter here. We'll just stretch a little. What I'm gonna do is go like this. I put my finger down and I pull like this. I go like this. Can you see? Pull down and pull up. 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 Just like that. Now you want to kind of keep the crust thicker. Don't roll it too thin. I actually have it a little, you know, whenever you do stuff for people, it never turns out quite the way you want it to. It never doesn't for me anyways. This is a little thinner over here than I'd like it. And the reason I don't like it real thin there is because thinner spots, of course, can burn or brown faster than others. So you want to kind of keep it even. Then I just go around and I just pinch these lightly. You don't want to pinch them really skinny because then they will get darker quicker. Just give them a soft little pinch there. See, isn't that starting to look kind of pretty? Now, maybe we'll make this one our lemon one. So I'll show you, if you have a recipe for a baked pie shell, what you're gonna need to do. Now, after I do that, I kind of smush it in more and pull it out. So this is tipped out more than in, because as it bakes, sometimes it will do this. You don't want it to, so just kind of give it a little squeeze and pull outward, like this. But then also keep it down here on the edge of where the bottom goes up to the side of the pie plate, like that. And then if you've mushed some of these, you just kind of go back and fix them a little, like that. See? That one might end up getting a little too dark, but we'll see. Hopefully it'll turn out. I'm not used to having an audience. I always get nervous cooking for people. I don't know why. After all these years, I always worry that it won't turn out right. I don't know if there's anyone else out there like that. If there is, let me know. Okay, so there we go. Look at that. Now, as I put on this recipe, see, for a baked pie shell, prick the bottom and side thoroughly with a fork and bake at 475. I used to do it that high, but I'm just going for 425. So 425, and this is what I mean by prick the, like this. See that? And then what I do is I go around here on the sides. And I do the same thing. I think it kind of just lets like any air bubbles escape as it's cooking. Escape, can't talk right. That's a little big one. And there you go. Isn't that kind of pretty? So we're gonna put it in the oven over here at 425, and when it comes out, I'll show you what it looks like. Be back. So this is how it comes out, a baked pie shell, pre-baked before you put your topping in it. This is gonna be my lemon meringue. See what I mean? We're kind of sunk down in a little on this side, but it's okay. But you bake it and see, you can actually lift it right up out of the pie plate if you need to. But we're gonna let it set there and dry out some more. And I could have made it browner, a little more golden brown, but you're gonna put the lemon pudding in there, and then you're gonna put meringue on top of it, and it has to go back into the oven for a few minutes to brown the meringue. So when it goes into brown the meringue, you don't wanna end up the crust getting a whole lot darker than that. You don't wanna end up with a burnt pie crust. So take it out just before it gets golden brown, but it's still good and dried out. It's done. Can you see that? Yummy. Just made our pies for the holidays. There's our pumpkin and there's our lemon meringue. I've made a lot of other different ones over the years, and I have a delicious chocolate chip one too that maybe one day we'll make. But for now, it's just 2 this year. There's been years I've made as many as 6 or 8, I'm embarrassed to say, but we've had some big crowds for Thanksgiving. So there you go. Easy as pie.